In this video, we're going to cover a CCIE security blueprint topic from section 2.3. And the particular topic we are going to be looking at is L2TP version 3 over FlexVPN, or layer 2 tunneling protocol version 3 over FlexVPN. And to do this, we're using a set of CSR devices today to demonstrate this. So if you're not familiar with what L2TP over FlexVPN is, it's essentially a way to be able to extend a layer 2 network across a particular infrastructure over multiple layer 3 hops, allowing you to essentially have the same subnets which are physically dispersed. So just to give you an example with the topology that we have here, so we have on the left hand side we've got the CSR3, which is acting as our branch office edge router, and connected to that is a PC which is on subnet 192.168.1.0/29, and then we've got a connection out to our HQ, and then from our HQ we have a connection to a DC, and we can see there that CSR5 is acting as the edge router for that, and then we have another PC acting as our resource at that particular location. And we can also see that that subnet there is 192.168.1.0/29. So VPC6 will be on 192.168.1.2, and VPC7 will be on 192.168.1.3. So what we'll do is we'll configure this network, and we will verify that we have L2TP version 3 over FlexVPN configured correctly as well. So we'll run through that process. So to get started, we're just going to, this is a fresh network, so nothing is configured yet, so we need to configure everything from scratch. So we're going to run through that. So we'll start with CSR3 on the left hand side, which is this device here. We'll start by configuring a host name so that we can identify it. And then what we'll do is we will also configure our outside interface, which is going to be, let's just double check that it's on that, gig 2. So we can give this an IP address of 10.05.1, and it's a /30. And then what we'll do with the inside is we'll leave that for now, and you'll see why we will leave that for now. But what we'll do is we need to create a route, because the VPN is going to be established from CSR3 to CSR5, and then traffic is going to flow over a tunnel between CSR3 and CSR5 to extend that network. So we need to let CSR3 know where it can get to CSR5. So we need to give that a route. So we'll just do that now. 10.0, and that's another /30 network. So that should go via 10.05.2. Okay, so that's going to go via CSR4 through our HQ, and then we'll configure the next device. So which one's this? 901. So this one is CSR5, and then we'll configure our outside interface, which is gig 1. IP address is going to be 10.0.10.10.1. We'll give it 252. And then again, likewise, we need to let CSR5 know where 10.0.5.0 is. So we'll say anything going to that particular subnet, we want it to go via 10.0.10.1, which is via CSR4. So it'll be 2 rather. Yeah, that's right. So CSR5 is 10.1, so that's fine. And now what we need to do is we need to configure CSR4 with IP addresses, which is at HQ. So we'll just quickly do that. And we'll say interface gig 1 is going to be IP address 10.0.5.2. And then interface gig 2 is going to be IP address 10.0.10.2. Okay, now let's just try to ping both CSR3 and CSR5 from CSR4. So if I just ping CSR3 first, 10.0.5.1. Okay, that's good. And then if we ping 10.1, which is CSR5, that's good as well. So we've got that connectivity there from CSR3 to CSR5 now. So this is where now we're going to get into our VPN configuration. So what we want to do first and foremost is we're going to take advantage of some of the IKEv2 features by using some defaults just to speed up the configuration process. So we'll start by creating a keyring. So crypto IKEv2 keyring, and we'll use default. And now we want to specify the peer. So we'll give our peer a name of 10.1. because that's going to be our peer. You could give it another name if you wanted to. We'll keep it at that. And then we need to specify the address of that peer. So that's going to be 10.0.10.1. So that's CSR5's outside interface. And then we're going to specify a pre-shared key for that peer. So we'll say Cisco for that one. Next, what we'll do is we'll create a profile, IKEv2 profile, and we'll use the default again for that. And when you use the default here, it says that it lets you know that you are using the default, and basically says that there's a few things that you must have in order to make sure that this is configured correctly. So we're going to configure our remote identity address, which is going to be 10.0.10.1, and we're going to specify a mask for that. And then we're going to do identity local, which is going to be our local IP address of the outside interface, so it'll be 10.0.5.1. And then we're going to specify the authentication for the remote peer. We're going to say we're using pre-shared keys, and also for the local, we're going to be using pre-shared keys as well. And then lastly, we're going to specify the keyring locally that we created, and that's going to be the default one. Okay, so that's our profile done now. So we can move on now to create our tunnel. So we need to create a tunnel. So we'll do interface tunnel 0, and and then we'll do IP address. We'll give it an IP address of 172.16.1.1, let's just say, /24. And then we'll do tunnel source is going to be our 10.0.5.1 interface, Our tunnel destination again is going to be 10.0.10.1. Our tunnel mode is IPsec IPv4, and then our tunnel protection, we're going to specify that IKv2 profile that we created as well. So profile IKv2 tunnel protection IPsec profile, and then we're going to specify default there. Just do a no shut, even though it's should be no shut. And then now that we've done that, we're going to specify the parameters for L2TP version 3. So we need to do pseudo wire class, and then we'll give that a name. We'll just say, let's just say CCIE class. We're going to specify encapsulation as L2TP version 3, and then we're going to specify the tunnel interface as the local interface to use for that. So once we've done that, we now can go into our inside interface where we've got that 192.168.1.0 network configured, or connected rather. That's going to be here on CSR3, so gig 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to say no IP address, and then we're going to say xconnect, and we're going to specify the peer. So in this case, this IP address is going to be the tunnel IP address of the peer, which we've not configured yet, but we'll say it's 1.2. And then once you've done that, we need to give it a VCID, and then we'll specify encapsulation again, which is L2TP version 3, and that needs to match with the pseudo class that you created, or you will receive an error. And then we need to specify the class as well. So that's the pseudo class that we created. So we called our CCIE class, and then we'll say no shutdown on that. Just make sure the other interfaces are up. So tunnel will show down yet because we've not configured the other sides yet. Gig 1 is just coming up now, and gig 2, which is connected to HQ, is already up. So we can see we've got the relevant interfaces up right now. So if we just now look at, let's just do show xconnect all, we can see that currently xconnect status is down. It's showing as down on both sides. That's the peer there as well, which is expected because we've not configured the other side yet. If we do show crypto session, we can also see that the status is down at the moment as well. So these flags will change when we have configured CSR5. So on CSR5, it's the same configuration, barring the IP addresses that we changed. So again, we'll just quickly run through this again. So crypto keyring, IKv2 keyring, use default, specify the peer, we'll give it the IP address, which is 10.0.5.1, specify the address again, 5.1. Pre-shared key is going to be Cisco for this peer. We'll do crypto IKv2 profile, we use the default profile, and we're going to match identity remote address, which is going to be 10.0.5.1. So that's the outside interface of CSR3, and then identity local address is going to be 10.0.10.1 rather. And then we're going to say authentication is going to be pre-shared for remote, and also for local we're going to say pre-shared as well. And then lastly we're going to specify that default keyring that we created as well. That's our profile done. Into the tunnel IP address, remember we need to give this IP address 1.2 as we specified in the configuration on the other side, and then we need to say tunnel source is going to be the outside interface, and then tunnel destination is going to be 10.05.1, which is CSR 3 outside. Tunnel mode is going to be IPsec IPv4, and then tunnel protection is going to be IPsec profile, and we're going to specify that default profile that we created. Okay, so we'll come out of there, and then we're going to the L2TP settings. So we'll say CCIE class again, and then we'll specify encapsulation as V3, L2TPv3. We'll specify the IP interface, local interface is going to be our tunnel that we created. And lastly we go into our inside interface, if that's what you want to call it, the one connected here to VPC 7, so gig 2. So interface gig 2, and then we're going to say no IP address, and then we're going to say xconnect, and we're going to say the peer is 172.16.1.1, and we're going to specify that VCID again of 1, along with the encapsulation, which is L2TPv3, and then our password class that we created, CCIE class. Exit, and then what we'll do is we'll do no shutdown here, and we'll wait for gig 2 to transition to an upstate. We can also see that the tunnel is up now, whereas before it was currently down. And then what we'll do as well, we'll just give these VPCs an IP address just to demonstrate. So IP 192.168.1.2, what was it, /29, so 248. And then on VPC 7 we'll say 192.168.1.3, 248. And also on CSR3 there you can see that the tunnel state is up. If we just go back to CSR5, all interfaces are up now, which is expected. So let's take a look now at the show xconnect all. So we can see now that it's showing as up. So that's good. If we do show crypto IKv2 SA detail, we can also see that we have our tunnel that is obviously up because we our tunnel is up as well, so that's good. Show crypto session, and you now can see that we can see that it's up active, our tunnel interface as well. So now we see on the topology that we have the same network on either side of the topology. Theoretically, because they're on the same network, unless you're using some sort of NAT, then you're not going to be able to communicate with either side. But as I said, with this particular scenario with L2TP version 3 over FlexVPN, we're able to extend layer 2 networks. So if we were to just ping VPC 7 now, 192.168.1.3, that should work. and there you go, you can see it's working straight away. So that's actually working from the VPC6, which is connected to CSR3, and it's going all the way through the tunnel to VPC7. So we know that that works. So just as a kind of test, let's shut down tunnel 0, and then we'll see whether we can still ping like we just did there. Is that down? Yep, so that's down now, as you can see. So if I was just to ping, you can see now that that's timing out. It's not possible to ping, and that shows that the traffic is going over the tunnel, and we're basically extending that same network over the tunnel. So if I just do a no shut again, and what we'll do is I will try to bring up Wireshark, and we can have a quick look at the traffic that's being encrypted as it traverses that tunnel from the outside interfaces. Alright, so we have Wireshark here loaded now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to again ping now that tunnel's back up across to VPC7, and watch that the packets and what they look like, see what they look like. And as you can see there, as that traffic is traversing, you can see that it's encapsulated. It's encrypted there, so you can't actually see the information within that packet. And you can see that the source and destination being used is in fact the outside interfaces of both CSR3 and CSR5. So that's all we're going to see. So that's simply how we can configure L2TPv3 over FlexVPN. And like I said, that's part of the CCIE security blueprint. So do take some time to explore this a little bit further and try it out yourself.